Hey, welcome to this practice. Today we'll be exploring the three-part inhalation, and you'll see me gradually move you and the other students from arriving for pranayama into three-part inhalation, into a more formal experience of Dirga Pranayama, three-part inhale, and then even into inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, exhale, pause. So you're going to touch the first parts of exhale suspension, and then we will do an exhale suspension practice that closes this particular session. And my hope is that your mind feels that tranquil hum that comes from a healthy experience of exhale suspension. Okay, see you in the class. Good morning, everyone. Welcome for practice. Today we will be doing the cat petting pranayama sequence. Okay, down you go. Yes. How to meditate with your cat, right? When the cat's not sleeping. And this is the purring practice. I don't know if she's coming close enough to the microphone now, but the purring, we could do a purring practice. We could do Brahmari. It's our form of purring. Okay, we're going to start. Yeah, here we go. Okay, yeah, so for practice this morning, we are going to be looking at how do we reset physiology, particularly when working in a mental health setting. And I know that many of you you're in that setting already, or you're aiming to be in that setting to help people with their mental well-being, which also means to help society with our overall mental well-being. So thank you for that. Let's take a comfortable seat, please. You can rest your hands in your lap. You're welcome to close your eyes. And allow your body to arrive here. This present moment is the one that we share. And the present moment welcomes us to come back home to our interconnected and shared experience. Release the stress and tension, or I sometimes call it the mayhem of the mind. We can watch our breathing very naturally come back into its healthy cadence. When there is stress in the system, and sometimes that can just be mental stress, need not be physical stress. And sometimes it's a chronic underlying stress that we actually aren't aware of because we've acclimated to that kind of stress. But these various forms of stress on our system can end up shifting us away from the homeostatic capacity simply to breathe or to be breathed. And even slight changes in our breathing or our well-being that go unnoticed or untended to, and therefore acclimated to, like we just folded into our daily sense of ourselves, those can end up increasing slowly on a trajectory of becoming symptoms that may be mild before they're medium or severe. So when you're dropping in right now, see if you can sense that the mental process of letting go unburdens your body so that the breath can return to you. When we simply allow ourselves to be breathed, there is a quality of both surrender and receptivity. We want to stay present for the discovery that, in fact, the body has a natural intelligence. And that intelligence is trustworthy. Please raise your hands to your heart. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Punaktu Savidyam Karava Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvesha Vahi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Punaktu Savidyam Karava Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvesha Vahi Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvesha Vahi Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may bow your head to your heart. And release your hand. Open your eyes. Thank you for being here. So to support our well-being to come back to us naturally, it's more of the process of subtracting rather than adding. It's subtraction to come back to what yoga is and has told us we are, is the process of subtracting the misunderstandings or the misperceptions or the burdens that we then carry from those misunderstandings or misperceptions of who we are, of what we are, our nature. And as well, of course, we have life events that end up accumulating. Very widely understood now, a household term like PTSD, right? And so having a sense that we're releasing the burdens or subtracting the misperceptions and therefore coming back to that which we're meant to be is perhaps a more gentle path than this kind of like arduous, ongoing effort where you have to be dogged about creating who you want to be or finally getting to the destination of yoga. So I'd like you to think of both things, that there is a need for surrender, releasing the burdens, surrendering the misperceptions, and then there's this dedication to do so. There's a dedication to also refine who we are and to come into that which we can be. So this process of surrender is referred to as vairagyam, and the process of commitment is referred to as abhyasa. Abhyasa and vairagyam are in the Yoga Sutras, and they tell us that in tandem with each other, this abhyasa and vairagyam together is the best equation for discovering and living in this yoga. So for a releasing practice that we're going to do right now, we call these blowing off techniques. We're going to do something very simple to readjust your O2 CO2 ratio and to give a little boost to your brain and your body. This can be done anywhere, anytime, on a train, on a plane, in a car, near or far, I like to say. You could be on the subway, you could be on the highway. You can do it anywhere with the eyes open if you're driving, right? But it's something that your body naturally wants to do to help bring you back to homeostasis. And what impedes that is our habitual way of being with ourselves. So this is called the physiological sigh. It's a big inhale through the nose, a tiny sip of an inhale on the top of that, and then the exhale to release that physiological sigh. You can have a little pause between the sighs, and we'll do it 5 times in total for each of us. Okay, so resting your hand in your lap, close your eyes. Let's do a big inhale, sip, and then sigh. Okay. When you're ready to, another big inhale, a sip, and a sigh. It's going to be in your own timing. And the sigh can be out through the nose or through the mouth. You can pause between repetitions. And at the end of those repetitions, give yourself a good, healthy pause. And notice even any small change in you physiologically from those 5 breath cycles done in that manner. And you could have like a working hypothesis that if 5 breath cycles bring you back to balance, then 5 breath cycles in the other direction take you out of balance. Now, it's not that we would go around doing a physiological sigh every moment of the day, but insofar as it brings us back to natural breathing, we want to come back to natural breathing more frequently rather than departing from natural breathing more frequently or habitually. Okay, so now we're going to do a dynamic breathing practice that helps to do this sort of blowing off process. We're going to be inhaling and exhaling, and we do this briskly through the nose for both inhale and exhale. It goes like this. Five, four, three, two, one. Inhale. And exhale. Rest your hands in your lap. Allow your body to breathe you. And watch the echo of the practice fading in your body. The initial kind of effervescence, and then that fades slowly, slowly back to silence. Like when you ring a meditation bell and it goes from its sound back to the silence. And let's repeat this. So inhale, up, fingers spread, exhale, the hands come down into fists like this. Kind of a practice of determination, right? Of abhyasa. I will make a commitment. I will be on my own team, that kind of thing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale. And exhale. And you can have the eyes closed and watch the echo of the practice fading. It's like when the train has gone by, the train has left, but the sound is still fading. Take the arms and turn your palms face out. And now as you inhale, try to breathe from the first third of the abdomen. That's the lowest part, then the middle third, and the upper third of the torso up to the collarbones. And exhale, side bend to your right. You're squeezing the ascending colon, when you come down to the right. And then inhale up to center. Exhale down to your left. Now the descending colon. Inhale up to center. Exhale to your right. Slow and steady. So you're going to complete each breath cycle. Little pause at the bottom of the exhale and a little pause at the top of the inhale. Those are naturally a part of your breath. So don't rush over the exhale pause. And don't rush through the inhale pause either. And inhale up to center. We'll do one more time to the left. And then exhale, sweep the arms wide, come out and down. And so rest your hands in your lap. And you can imagine if somebody were coming to see you in a therapeutic setting, that even that simple side bending breathing practice could be an arriving ritual or an arriving practice, that you could even do it with them to make it more normalized. Right? But it has the ability to stretch the intercostals, the diaphragm, takes us out of our normal mode of daily life, which is front and back, and just gives a little reorienting to your whole system. Let's do that same practice now while pacing the inhale to be equal to the exhale. It brings another level of refinement to the practice, and it further deepens the support to your heart rate variability, and also balancing in-breath with out-breath balances us between kind of a sympathetic arousal, which is happening during inhalation, and then this kind of parasympathetic recovery, which happens during exhalation. As we balance those two things, we become more balanced in our homeostasis. Okay, so let's take the palms face out and count the length of your inhale, and you can start sensing it like the first third of the breath and the middle third and the upper third are actually all relatively equal to each other as well. And then exhale equal to the length of that inhale. Inhale, rise up equal again. And at your own pace, continue side to side. If you're familiar with Ujjayi breathing, you can use that now. It's not necessary, but it can be an additional helpful process. Sensing all three regions of the breath becomes really important, and it can be a beautiful mindfulness practice as well. When you next exhale and you've done equal sides left and right, then go ahead and float your arms back down and return your hands to your lap and see if there's any deeper understanding of what happens in pranayama when you balance your inhale and your exhale. And so each time we pause after a brief breathing practice, we're letting that settle in. It's like allowing the water to soak into the ground or the sponge in the sink. We're also, as we soak in that, we're listening for the quiet behind the habitual thoughts, that which we're unburdening, that which we're releasing. You can even make each silent period like a prayer. May my problematic thoughts fade, or may my troublesome habits dissolve. May I be free to be who I'm capable of being, who or what we're capable of being. So this sense that you can breathe into the first, middle, and upper thirds of the breath, this is a very important part of yoga. And we have a breathing practice called Dirga Pranayama, where there's specifically first third, middle third, upper third. For some people, it can be difficult to get each of those thirds because if we become a habitual chest breather from stress or anxiety or PTSD or modern living, if we become a habitual chest breather, we may not have a very strong sense of the diaphragm. So the inhale might seem short because the diaphragm isn't working as well as it could be. Or the in-breath might seem short because we have an excess of accumulating what we call over-breathing experience. So your body is hoarding oxygen in the blood cells. You try to breathe more in, doesn't feel like it's really going in. And then when you exhale, it's also ineffective. So we may not even feel like we're taking a deep breath at any point in the day when that's going on. And yet the physiological sigh can shift you from over-breathing to baseline breathing. So once we get that shift, we're going to be more able to have first, third, middle third, upper thirds of the breath. Another reason that we may not be able to do it very well is that we feel like we put all of the inhale in the first third. By the time we get to the top third, we're like, oh, I have no more inhale to do. I'm all done. What am I going to breathe in now? I'm like gasping for the last part of the inhalation. We don't want that gasping. So what we're going to do right now is a practice called pranayama that's going to give your diaphragm some strength. It may help you to slow down the inhale and to actually feel like you're drawing in a more complete inhalation. Since we've already done some blowing off practices, we can now draw in a more complete inhalation without causing that oxygen hoarding in the cells that's not leaving. The next inhale comes in. Where's it going to go? We won't be in that same quandary. So the blowing off technique is helpful for getting you ready for this. What we're going to do is take the first two fingers into the center of the palm. We'll partially close each of the nostrils so that the aperture through which you're inhaling is narrowed. And then as you inhale, the diaphragm is going to have to pull down more strongly to operate the inhalation. This is also called inhale resistance in contemporary breathing science, and in some sports practices, they call it inhale resistance. It's helpful for things like acid reflux and GERD, and helping the anxious, whirling mind come back down into the body. It brings our drive and our fire, that which is coming up to the mind, like we're burning the candles at both ends. It helps that to come down so we can be in our appropriate fire in the stomach, which in yoga is called Agni, your digestive fire. Okay, that's a lot said. There's other videos on our YouTube channel about this thing called Pratyalama Pranayama, so we'll put those in the description down below this video for you to get to easily. Let's take the thumb and the ring and pinky. Place your hand at the tip of your nose. Close both nostrils partway and inhale slowly without causing yourself to feel breathless. At the top of your inhale, you can exhale like you're sighing. You're just allowing the breath to fall from the body. And between each breath cycle, let there be a tiny recalibration. And please do 5 complete Pratyalama Pranayamas. And each time the diaphragm is drawing down, you're filling the lungs from the bottom to the middle to the top. Take your time without being breathless. See if you can accomplish a full torso breath, lower third, middle third, and upper third. When you complete 5, you can relax your hands back to your lap. Just to give you a sense, for me, that was 3 breaths. And the sense I want to offer you is that your inhale will get longer and slower, and it will be comfortable, more and more comfortable. But when you come back to this surrender moment, this recalibration moment, again, you can have a little prayer. May my problematic thoughts fade, or may the burdens that you're carrying, may they dissolve. And now we'll practice the 3-part pranayama in a reclined position. I'm going to recommend that you use 2 blocks for this. So one block is going to be on the medium setting for your head, and the other block will be on the flat setting for your shoulder blades. Place yourself that when you're in your physical space, you can take your arms out to the side and up overhead. So you check that you're not going to run into anything. And let's start with the palms face down alongside your torso and your hips. So what we'll do is we'll inhale first third, and the arms will move 1/3 of the way. We'll inhale the middle third. The arms will take the second third of the breath in their movement. And then we'll inhale to the upper third, and the arms will use this overhead position for the final third of the inhale. And then the exhale, the arms just come back down and return to the starting position. Okay, so let's do this. Of course, each of us at our own pace. We'll do it slowly, but not to the point of breathlessness. So it might help you if you count in groups of 3, like, the first 3 counts, then 4, 5, 6, then 7, 8, 9, because you'll be able to pace it so each third of the breath is also evenly paced to the other thirds of the breath. Let's try it now. When you're exhaling, the exhale still leaves from the pubic bone, lower belly, mid belly, upper belly. The exhale pathway is out through the nose. So it travels from the base of your pelvis upwards and outwards. Of course, it travels from your lungs. The lungs are not in the pelvis, but you understand it's an image. Please continue with your practice. And as you get more accustomed now to having the breath include all 3 regions of the torso, come down for a short pause or recalibration. So this process of the first third, middle third, upper third, we were doing as a continuous, smooth breath. Now we're going to add a little pause between each of the portions of the breath. So counting in 3s is going to be helpful. So we have inhale first third, pause for 3, inhale middle third, pause for 3, and then inhale upper third, and we'll pause for 3. And in that pausing process, what is occurring is that your body is learning how to pace the inhalation. You're learning how to pace the mind and coming into balance for those things all together. Okay, so when you then exhale, it will be uninterrupted exhale, right? So it's the exhale pathway is going to go from the base up, 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 like, right? So that you have the sense of the exhale is smooth and uninterrupted. And then the inhale has these interruptions because the in-breath is what we're working with right now. And then later we can do exhale with the interruptions as well. Okay. So let's take the shoulder blades onto the first block and the head onto a little higher block, right? At this point, you can keep the knees bent or you can straighten them. It's up to you. And so we'll do first third for 3, pause for 3, middle third for 3, pause for 3, and so on. And so here we go. And then exhale for 9. Now, each time that you're pausing with those 3, you're doing a little thing that we do naturally to pause. You're toning the epiglottis and the throat, and you are resisting any further inhale or exhale. So keep that in mind as you're doing that because it's going to be part of your next instruction. And when you complete the next exhale, go ahead and pause there and allow for the recalibration. And remain at rest on your back. So in our lungs, the little sacs that exchange the air for us are most dense at the bottom of the lung. Then they're less dense in the middle, but the least dense at the top of the lungs. So when you're breathing in the upper part of your lungs here, it's a little bit like breathing at altitude, right? So you're doing some training right now to let your body remember how to inhabit the lower lobes of the lungs and to make use of that most efficient realm, for those tiny sacs are the most numerous there. And then the middle portion of the lungs and the upper portion of the lungs. Right? So in that process, we had inhale 3, pause 3, inhale 3, pause 3, and so on. And then exhale for 9. At the bottom of the exhale, you might be getting more and more comfortable with the exhale pause. So I'd like us to consider that on this one more round that we'll do. At the bottom of the exhale, you know how each inhale you pause and like there's a little tone in your throat, little tone in the belly, because you're not going to have the next part of the inhale yet. In that little pause, you've toned, and then you release that tone for the next inhale. And you did that 3 times during inhalation. So now at the bottom of the exhale, I'm going to ask you to keep the tone of the throat, but relax the tone of the belly. And without inhaling, notice for maybe 3 counts what happens there. And then begin the next inhale. And you'll do that by then toning the belly before you inhale again. Okay, so let's try it. I'll give instruction on the first round, and I will suggest that we try 5 altogether, 5 total for each of you individually. So here's the first third of the inhale through the nose. 1, 2, 3, pause, 2, 3, middle, 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, 2, 3, upper, 1, 2, 3, pause, 1, 2, 3, exhale slowly for the count of 9. As you're moving the exhale from the base up out through the nose, your arms are coming down. And now pause, release the abdominal muscles completely without inhaling, about 3 counts, and then inhale and resume again. So try that at your own pace. The bottom of the exhale, when you pause a little longer and you're relaxing those exhale muscles in the abdomen, the throat stays toned. There's going to be this little vacuum or hollowing in the abdomen. Let that just be for 3 counts and continue at your own pace. And at the end of the next exhale and the exhale pause, then allow your body to rest. You can take the palms out to the side, close your eyes. These two blocks do make a little bit of a back bend for your thoracic spine. That's why the head is slightly higher than your heart. So your gaze can be down and in towards your heart. And now gently wiggle your fingers and your toes. Please bend your knees. Roll to your side and return to sitting. I'd like you to have a blanket that you're comfortable using for meditation. We will do one more pranayama. And in this pranayama, it's going to be helpful for those of you for whom your head does not reach the floor when you bend forward. It'll be helpful to have, let's say, a block, right? Or a large dog that doesn't mind that you're using it in that way. Or two blocks or some bed pillows, something that supports your head so that you don't feel like you're going to fall forward. Okay. So when we come forward now, we're going to be, let's say, building on what you were just doing with that exhale pause. So in that exhale pause, the process of the inhale that you were doing, interrupting like that, is retraining your body how to use the diaphragm, giving your body a chance for that O2 departure from the blood cells, the new O2 coming in. So you're kind of reconditioning your system to have more optimal breathing at your baseline in daily life too. But it's also in preparation for meditation, for this kind of purpose here. And it's in addition, that's a good preparatory practice for what we're going to do now. That kind of inhale, pause, inhale, pause, inhale, pause, exhale, pause. So in that pause, that is your first introduction today into exhale suspension, kumbhaka. And in that suspension, when you're resting there in each of those suspensions, ultimately we want to taste the delicious quietude of the suspension. If your body was stressed about exhale suspension, you would not be feeling quietude, you'd be feeling anxious. That would be a sign that your body's going to a sympathetic arousal. In the exhale part of your breath cycle, your body comes into a parasympathetic mode. And if we can be gently moving towards exhale suspension, we can hover in this beautiful, quiet, parasympathetic hum. But if we come demandingly into the exhale suspension, or rajasically or urgently into it, we'll probably feel anxious. And if we've had no sort of blowing off or recalibration techniques, we probably won't feel comfortable with the exhale suspension either. So for those of you who are thinking along a scientific term, the inhale is a sympathetic mode. And so inhale suspension has a little sympathetic boost. It's like a little poof from a perfume bottle, like, oh, you're more awake, right? So it's not that we're going to be charging the day in a sympathetic arousal then, but you have this little sympathetic poof. And then on this one, we're going to go exhale and then exhale suspension. But without further ado, I want you to experience it. So if you need a block on the floor, go ahead and place that. Your hands are going to be behind you. And this, when we bow forward, we're coming down so that the hands are actually relaxing on the small of the back. We are not holding the hands up. It's not like a yogi mudra kind of thing here for the shoulders. The hands are just relaxing on the small of the back. Okay, so here's my inhale. You can just watch for a moment. And then I'll exhale and come down, squeezing, 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 squeezing at the bottom of the exhale. I'll keep the throat toned, but the belly muscles are going to totally relax. And inside there will be this quiet suction of the parasympathetic hum. So here's the inhale. Exhale. And then the inhale to return to sitting. So I exhale to go down, and then I have no voice at the end, so I don't say now the exhale suspension. I could have, I suppose, made the effort, but you realize it's a quiet exhale and then a quiet suspension. So let's try it. We'll have to each be at our own pace because the length of your inhale will be your own, as will mine and your classmates as well. So we'll try 3 in total. Okay, so breathing in when you're ready to. And exhale as completely as you can. The bow forward is to help with the completion of your exhale breath. And then you deeply relax your exhale muscles, and you'll be in that exhale suspension. You'll want to smoothly inhale to come up before you feel breathless or any kind of panic sets in. And then you can recalibrate for a moment and repeat, or you can do these sequentially. In time, you'll be able to do them sequentially with grace and elegance. When you come up from the last effort there, and go ahead and relax. You can relax your arms, your hands, your eyes, your face, your mind. Let yourself be at ease. In meditation, make no particular effort to conduct the breath. Allow it to breathe you like it's occurring on your behalf. During meditation, don't give your attention to the wandering thoughts to the best of your ability. And you may continue that gentle prayer. May our troublesome or problematic thoughts, may they be relieved. May they be dissolved. You can also rest your mind in the silence that follows pranayama practice. There can be relative mental quiet. So stay there. Rest your mind in the silence, which is calling you back home to know yourself, not as the ever fluctuating vrittis, but as this clear reflection. And raise your hands to your heart. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnata Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishate. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Pyo Namaha Hari Om. And with your exhale, you may then bow your head to your heart. Thank you very much, everyone. Namaste. Thank you for sharing your practice this morning. I hope this pranayama has been helpful to you and that you experience a more tranquil mind as a result of being here, an overall increase in your vital health in every way. If you have questions from this practice, please leave them in the comments down below. Your comments are also welcome there. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please do that. It helps us to keep offering more of the practices. And as always, if you click like on a practice, it gives me good feedback. It also sends this video into other places on YouTube where students who may not know about this channel or these practices can benefit by you just clicking the like button. So, thanks, everyone. Namaste.